I'm standing out in this pumpkin patch to get some inspiration today because we are going to be painting some pumpkins. I'm going to show you how to make a shade and a tint out of the same color, and we're going to get ready for fall. So come on out to the pumpkin patch and let's make a pumpkin. Today we covered learning background, middle ground, and foreground by drawing these pumpkins in 3 different sizes. When something is in the background, it's smaller, sometimes more fuzzier, and it's like you can't quite see it sometimes if it's really far back. When it's in the middle ground, it's kind of in the middle of the paper, usually in a little bit larger size, but not too big. The things in the foreground are usually the biggest, the closest to you. So you want to draw them at a bigger scale than the ones in the picture, the other ones. So a pumpkin patch is a nice way to learn foreground, middle ground, and background. I hope you practice and give it a try. Good luck. Next, we're going to move on to shading our pumpkin by using tints and shades. We start out with just the traditional orange color of a pumpkin, and as we paint it in, we are going to begin to add some black to the paint and also some white to our paintbrush. And you'll notice when we add those colors that we're creating a different effect of the paint, a different color to the paint than we started out with. So when you add white to a color, it is called a tint. If this was a red apple and I added a little white, then we would end up with a pink apple. But now we have orange. So now I added a little bit of black to my color, to my orange, and that is called a shade color. Anytime you add black to a color, you're making a shade. So you'll notice when we paint our pumpkin that the black color actually makes the curve stand out in our pumpkin and makes it kind of turn into a 3D look instead of just flat on the page. Shading could be used in lots of different ways, and it's fun to play around with it to see how real you can make something by the amount of shading that you put in your painting. The highlights come when you think about where the light is reflecting off of the rounded pieces. If you put a light overhead, you'll see some of the reflection on the rounded pieces of your item that you're painting. So having that white in there helps it to see where the light hits it. Giving the shadow helps it to see where the curves are. Because if there is a curve that is higher, then it will create a shadow to the side of it. So we're just playing around, having some fun with this. When you make something in 3D, it helps to have a place where you're sitting it on top of. If it's just floating on the paper, then it's just like out in space. So you always want to have a kind of a place to sit it on. So you want to paint or draw underneath, even if it's not real full. Now I'm adding a little bit of shadows to the stem, trying to make it a little more realistic. Sometimes there's little vines and things that grow out of the stem, so I'm going to create that too by using a little smaller of a brush, maybe adding a little bit of green. Some of the stems are going to be green and some are going to be brown because they've died and they've gotten all dried up. But until they're picked from the vine, then they still have a little bit of green in them. So have fun with your little pumpkin patch. Draw pumpkins in different stages of the field. Draw small ones for the background, middle-sized ones for the middle ground, and the larger ones for the foreground. You can even add a fence and a barn back there. However you want to make your picture come to life. Make it a nice fall decoration. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed it.